Hello, welcome. We are going live today. Welcome to my channel. So I'm giving a few minutes. It's so 3 more minutes, and I will be started. I can't see who is live. I'm trying to. One more minute, and I will be started. Tell me in the comment, please, where you are joining from. So my name is Francine, and I am joining from Ottawa. It's almost time. It's 6 p.m. Hello, welcome to the channel. I can't see who is here, but I see that we already have few people watching. Thank you so much. My name is Francine, and I am the Newcomer Mom owner channel. Thank you so much for joining our live streaming tonight. So we've been here, my family and I moved to Canada a year ago, and I thought I could just sit and share my story. And if people have questions, I'm happy. I'm happy to share. So while we are waiting for people to join, I'll give you a few minutes. I don't know if you can just leave in a chat. Let me know where you are joining from. I am here in Ottawa. I live very close to Bahaven area for those of you who are in the area. So that's where I am joining from. And I'm glad to have you guys. So if you can just drop in the chat where you're joining from, and we can get started. So for tonight, I'm going to share kind of our experience, how it was like settling. Hey, Mustafa, I'm happy to see you. I'm happy to see Mustafa. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. So for tonight, I want to share our story of relocating to Canada as a family of 7. My husband and I and 5 kids. I went to share how it was like to settle in a new country, what was challenging, what was surprising, what we have learned, and how we're able, if at all, to settle quickly. So, and at the end, I don't know if you have any question. I don't think this is gonna be a very long conversation, maybe just to get us started, probably 30 minutes. And if people have questions or have some thought to share, I'll welcome to at the end of this video. But with no further ado, I just want to welcome you to the channel and thank you for taking the time. I know we are living in very very busy world. So thank you so much for being here with me tonight. And so I share a lot of videos on my channel about our relocation journey, how we moved to Canada, how has life been ever since we moved, and I share some tips of like for newcomer that can be helpful for people who are thinking of relocating not only to Canada. That can really be helpful even if you are moving to any other country in the world. So I share a lot of video about relocation, family life, settling in a new country, and some of my projects like home gardening project. I share those type of videos. So this, if this is something that you can be interested in, I will encourage you to check out my other videos. So to start, I can share a little bit of how we moved. So we moved last June. We've been living in the US for almost 10 years, and we decided to move last June. So for us, it wasn't as if we were starting from scratch, because I know people move from different parts of the world and they can only come with their suitcases. So we were lucky. In our case, we moved with most of our belongings, because we hired pads, which are these containers, and we were able to move with most of our belongings. So that was a little different from people who move, for example, from Africa, from Asia, or from other places, really, where they can only carry their suitcases. So we moved and we were living back in Atlanta, Georgia, and we came to Ottawa. So something fun is that we've never been to Canada. None of us, my husband, myself, kids. So this was the first time actually we come to Canada, and we came to stay. So it was a kind of a hard decision, but we did our research before moving, a lot of research, some of which was helpful, some not, because you cannot rely on everything that you see online. So we did a lot of research before relocating. We watched a lot of videos. We read a lot of articles, a lot of news. We visited the official website of Canadian immigration. So we really did our part, and at the end, we decided to move, and the move was just as expected, because it took us almost a year to prepare. So not a lot of unexpectations. So we moved in June, end of June actually. So the end of June last year, and that was on purpose, because we didn't want to move in winter, because like I say, we've been living in Georgia, and we barely have any snow in Georgia. So we were trying to come to Canada, have time to settle before winter. So that was kind of our plan, and it worked for us. Also, because the kids were in school and they didn't finish until May. So we were also planning to come spend some time. So unlike the US, where school starts in August, here in Canada, school starts in September. So we wanted to come, have some time to get familiar with our new environment before kids go to school, but also get familiar with environment before winter starts, so that we can be able to move around before winter. So that was kind of the plan. So when we moved, what were we expecting versus what we discovered? So I think, as I said, we did a lot of research, watch a lot of videos, read a lot of online information. But I think what we were expecting was mainly based on what we were watching online, and unfortunately, a lot of information online is not accurate. And maybe this is one of the reasons why I decided to start this channel, because I thought people need to hear some real information. For example, we heard a lot of information like in Canada you cannot uh, get a credit card, you need to prepay. So I watched so many videos and I thought that was the rule, but I was surprised when we went to the bank the same day. We did not even need to prepay, but we were approved and we were given a credit card. So this is just one example, one of many examples. And I even made a video about online lies that newcomers should be aware of. So you can go check that video if you are interested. So that's where came some of our disappointment. It's because we were expecting stuff based on what we were watching, based on what we were getting as information. But when we came, we realized that actually the reality on the ground was kind of different. So, and key milestones. So after 1 year, we've been in Canada. We survived all four weathers. I think for everybody, when you tell somebody you've moved to Canada, the first question is like, "Are you sure about the winter?" And even for us, we didn't know what to expect because, as I say, we lived in Georgia where we don't get a lot of snow, so we survived our first winter. And even people who live here told us last year that winter was really, really harsh. But yeah, we survived. We survived our first winter. And because we didn't know what to expect, so we were just ready for the worst. And before we realized winter was over, and actually we're getting ready for the second winter. And getting kids to school in school was not hard. It was a smooth process. So that's something that we were also happy with because here people really take their time. As we came during summertime, all the schools were closed, and Canadian really don't play with their summer. So there was not much that we could do. But the week before school started, they were able to complete all the enrollment, and kids were able to go to school when school started. Something else that was worked well for us is the fact that we have a strong Congolese community here in Ottawa. And we know one family who introduced us to many of their friends. So that's something that was very helpful because when you get somewhere, you have to get some connections and get information because, as people say, information is key. We also have good neighbors, so they are very helpful. They show us around. They tell us stuff we couldn't have known. Yeah, so that's very helpful. And let's talk about what was challenging when we moved. I think for us, securing accommodation was very challenging because, as I say, we are a family of seven. And we started looking for a house even when we were still back in the US, like in April. Even March, I think 4 months before moving, we started, it didn't work out. So at the end, we started working with a real estate agent. And because we were told that even if you work with a real estate agent, you are not the one to pay them, but they will be paid by the homeowner. So we reached out to a real estate agent and we were doing a lot of virtual home tours. So like on Sunday, he would go visit some houses and he just, we go on a video call. He visited so many houses. We submitted a lot of applications, but it was very challenging. We thought maybe because it was because we were not in Canada, but he said even for some of his other customers, it was very challenging at that time because the market was very hot. And at the end, he said, actually, you can maybe buy a house instead of renting. And we were like, no, how can we buy a house in a place you don't even know any neighborhood? So we thought that was not an option, but at the end of the day, it turned out that was the best option for us. So I don't want to keep talking. This is meant to be a conversation. Let me know in the comment. Do you have any question? Hi, Mustafa. Hi, Christian. If as I'm talking, if I'm going fast, please let me know. Or if you are here, you can only speak French, let me know. I can try to translate in French as well. And if you have any question, please stop me and don't let me go fast because this is supposed to be a conversation. So as I was sharing, securing accommodation was challenging, especially so for a few reasons. First of all, we were outside Canada. We didn't have Canadian credit score because those are the stuff that are required. We didn't have Canadian, although we were working back in the US, but they need to see that you have a Canadian employer. And thirdly, we were a big family. So for anybody with a house who sees a family of seven, they will have to think twice before giving the houses. So I had to write a lot of applications, sometimes letters as if we are applying for a job, because sometimes they told me I have to explain why I am moving, what are the reasons, whom am I, like whom are we coming with? But at the end of the day, just to be to be rejected. So that was really challenging, and we went through that process for months until we decided, okay, we're gonna maybe look for a temporary accommodation, and when we get there, now we can start again looking for a house. So that's what we did, but we also considered what our real estate agent suggested, that maybe looking for a house to buy, like paying a mortgage, can be easier than renting, because even when you are renting, for example, when you are a newcomer, homeowners want you to pay like 12 months in advance. And that's why our real estate agent was like, you might as well buy house, because if you are able to pay like 12 months in advance, and that's not even your house, so why can't you just buy house? Because here in Canada, that can be the case in other countries as well. Banks have programs, specific programs for newcomers. So you may not qualify for regular mortgage programs, but there are programs for newcomers where they are expecting you to not have like Canadian credit score, Canadian employment, and you can still qualify. So that was challenging. We had to rent a Airbnb for a month, and we started looking for a house, and thankfully we were able to secure a house within a month, and we moved. And yeah, so now life went on. Surprises. What was surprising when we moved to Canada? I think what was surprising was to realize how Canada is actually different from the US, because I hear a lot of people saying Canada and US, they're all the same. But when we moved here, it was surprising to realize how they are actually very different. Not only the people, but yeah, so the culture, the environment, you realize that, yeah, this is not the US, this is really different. So if I can number a few things, just to illustrate the difference. For example, public schools. Even in the US, my kid used to go to public schools, but public schools here are very different. Like, for example, in the US, you have the public schools, and if you want to go to, for example, Catholic schools, there are kind of private, kind of. But here, both public and Catholic schools, they are both public. So kids can still go to public schools as part of the public school system. Another different lifestyle. People here like to be outside, like outdoor activities. Although the weather here can be very, very harsh, especially winter time, but during summer, even during winter, sometimes you see people walking. I'm like, what's wrong? So people here can like to be outside, and I think now I'm getting used to it. But when we first moved here, it was very surprising to see somebody going for a walk, even when it's raining. They just take their dog, they take the umbrella, just going for a walk. I was like, what's going on? Yeah, so that was very surprising. And sometimes you look through the window even around 11 p.m. and people are just going for a walk. So that's a very big difference that we notice. Uh, People can walk through neighborhoods. Like in the US, I think you can just stay in your neighborhood, but people can walk through like even other people's neighborhood without being scared of, like, people will not start asking each other, oh, you know that guy? Because I noticed that a lot in the US. We used to have a Facebook group page, and if there's a stranger in the neighborhood, people will start testing, oh, there's somebody in the neighborhood. But here that's not the case. You can just go in any neighborhood, and yeah, there's no issue. School buses, that's another difference. So while in both countries they do have those yellow school buses, but I know, for example, in the US, if there's no school bus, kids will not go to school. But here, it's no big deal. If there's no school bus, we were surprised, like, especially the beginning of the year when they still have shortage of drivers. Sometimes there's no school bus and nobody's complaining. The parents will just walk their kid to school. So that was very surprising to me because I know last year we were still waiting for our car. We didn't have a car at the beginning of the year. And so many days the school bus didn't come, and we were not even notified, and nobody was complaining. So that was, I'm like, yeah, people were like, yeah, it's no big deal, just walk to school. Another difference, I think the biggest difference, I can say the healthcare system here. I know in many countries you go to the hospital, like I can refer to the US where I used to live. You either have your health insurance, your employment, or you will pay, like you go there, even if you have your insurance, you still have to pay your copay, for example. But here with the health insurance, sometimes almost everything is covered by the government health insurance. Although it might not be the best, but at least you know you can go to the hospital without having to break the bank. So, what are the lessons we have learned so far after 1 year in Canada? I think for us, we have learned that it's very important to build some connection, not to be isolated. And as I said, we have our neighbors here. As people usually say, Canadians are very nice. I can say it of my neighbor, they are very nice. They are very helpful. And we also have a community, but as a newcomer, it's also somebody's responsibility to go out, to reach out, ask for help if you need. So what has been very helpful for us are those connections that we've been able to build, because we came here, we didn't know, we only knew one family and they were living like almost an hour from us. But now we have built a big network because we have nice people surrounding us, but also we are also open. We are willing to make new friends, and rebuild our connection, because we already had a big network in the US, but now we kind of rebuilding our network here in Canada. Other practical insights to newcomers really here in Canada. I think some of the challenging newcomer challenges is also securing a job. In our case, we were lucky because we were able to keep our job from the US, working remotely. But I think what I can say, because I hear a lot of people saying especially people coming from Africa, they say your international degree doesn't matter in Canada. That is not true, because I've seen people who came here from Africa and were able to secure jobs in big organizations. But I think what is important though is to find help. Because even though we moved from the US, but I realized when I started looking for a job that the hiring process here is very different. So you need to get help. And luckily, we have organizations like non-profit organizations that are already funded by the government. So the good news is you don't have to pay. They are funded by the government, and they help newcomers. They help you, they can guide you in the job search, writing resumes, preparing for interviews, and even helping you to find some positions that you can qualify for. Because sometimes when you are looking for a new job, it can be overwhelming, and sometimes you don't even know what to apply for. And here in Canada, it can be challenging because sometimes the job uh, titles can be different from other places. So I think is insight to newcomers is don't struggle, don't try to figure out how things work when it comes to looking for a job, but find people who are already paid by the government, so it's free service. Find those people that can help you. I've been looking for a job for for a few months, applying, but I was lucky. I got in touch with one organization, especially if you are a woman and if you are a woman of color. There are also those specific organizations who are there to support women or women from minority. So find people who can help you. And when I started working with them, I think I became more efficient, and it didn't take long for me to get another job. So now, speaking of job, I think now I can. I see we have a few minutes. I can't believe it's almost 30 minutes. So speaking of job now, I can share some highlight. What have been like our achievement after 1 year. So we are very grateful. Uh, we were able to settle. We were able to secure a mortgage nearly after landing, like within weeks. So we were able to find a house so that we can settle and focus on other things. Because as I said, it wasn't easy to rent. So we were able to find a house that we can call our own. I also started my new business. I've never had any business. But when I moved here, everybody was saying you have to have a business. You must have a small business. And why? Because taxes here in Canada can be quite high. So the only way you can save some money, claim some taxes is if you have a small business. So I took that advice seriously and I started my own business. And in my next videos, actually, I'll be sharing how you can start your business here in Canada. Another achievement is as much as I was comfortable keeping my job back in the US, I was also ready for a move because anyway, I already moved from the US and I was ready now to embrace my new country. And so I started a new job. And also, I was tired working remotely. I've been working remotely for so many years. So I was ready to go back to the office. So I'm very grateful. It has been a month. I started a new job and I like it. And it's good to go back to the office to meet real people beyond just Zoom meetings. I also started my home gardening. So this summer, so this is something that I've done many years ago back home. And because when we bought a house, so the owner of the house used to have a garden, and so I already have that set up. And when it was summertime, I was like, why not? So I started my garden. If you can check my channel, I've been growing eggplant, cucumber, spinach, tomatoes, pepper, even broccoli. So this is something that I'm very proud of, and even my neighbors was very surprised, like, wow, so maybe we need a bigger space. Yeah, so we are grateful for everything so far. Everything so far has been good. Nothing alarming. No major challenges that we we cannot handle. So we are very grateful, and we are ready to see what the future holds for us. So this is kind of my update, guys. It has been a year, very, very busy year. As you can imagine, with 5 kids, they are all in school. Some are in colleges, others are in high school. The little one is in elementary school. So it has been a very busy year. But here we are, and we are very grateful. So let me know, guys, what you think about our journey. Is this something that you can think of, moving with your family to a place you've never been to? Let me know, guys. Do you have any questions for me? But that's kind of our update. We are embracing our new country, and we're getting ready for our second winter. So I'm not ready for it, but this is our reality. Fall is here. I can see the trees starting changing the colors. So getting ready for our second winter. So that's all for me, guys. Let me know. Do you have any question? Do you have any advice? What do you find surprising or unwise? Let me know, guys. What are your thoughts? And have you made such a big change, such a big move with your family? Let me know. And thank you so much for watching. It's almost 30 minutes. Thank you. That was my update from today. Thank you for watching, and I hope to catch you in my next videos. Thank you so much, guys, and bye-bye. To stop this.